Hello everybody and welcome to another video on Khaldor TV. Today we're going to look at another Heroes of the Storm match, a best of 3 series that was played in the OGS series, a Spanish league that is currently running. Fnatic was playing against Spartanien here, and both of the teams, well, especially Fnatic of course, changed a lot of players. We've been talking about how after Prague they switched out 3 of their players. Now they changed their lineup again, which we are going to see in just a few seconds in the match itself. Spartanien then again, the former alternate fancy, a very strong team that had great success in the recent past, and the two teams here pretty much on eye level, and you are in for a treat. This is going to be a really intense series between the two of them. It's a best of 3 in case that I haven't mentioned that yet. We're kicking things off with Haunted Mines. Map number 2 is going to be Cursed Hollow, and then if need be, map number 3 is going to be Tomb of the Spider Queen. So we're going to jump into the match right away. Guys, I hope you have fun with this one and enjoy the series, and make sure that you get yourself some snacks because this is going to be a good one. See you in the game. Welcome everybody to the first game in the best of 3 series played between Fnatic and Spartanien in the OG series. Today we have all of the matches that haven't played in this series, and we are starting things off with Haunted Mines. To the left side we have of course Fnatic with Mena on Jaina, we have Shat on Arthas, we see Quacknix on Carrigan, Breeze on Tyrael, and Smexy Style on Tyrande. We're going to talk about the team composition and also about the team in just a bit, but let's introduce the team to the right side. First it is Spartanien with Blumbi on Muradin, we have Crosby on Vala, Get Amherd on Karazim, Nurok on Tacita, and Darkmok is playing ETC. A pretty cool setup for both of the teams, and especially when we're looking at the map, then you can of course tell that with Haunted Mines being a map that is not as common as other maps, strategies are a little bit different here. We have a very different setup on this map, only 2 lanes, and of course then also the mines themselves, but you can already tell that on the side of Spartanien we are seeing a double warrior composition. We have, besides Karazim, also Tacita, a great hero in the current patch, especially since the shields are on such a low cooldown that you can just spam them out completely. We've even seen teams with Tacita solo, which can in certain compositions definitely work. And Tacita already with a bit of a little surprise here for us. He goes straight into the level 1 talent for his shields, the reinforced structure, which is actually a very smart talent to take on this map. If you think about it, he won't be able to get too much out of a Conjurer's Pursuit talent, which is normally the number 1 choice. You could go into the Mana Infusion with a Storm, but then at the same time, if you have those shield talents anyways, aiming into a Kala's Embrace on level 7, having that structure talent on the map where the Golem is pushing the lane can be extremely powerful. So already a very nice adjustment, I'm liking it a lot. Vala is going into the auto attack build. When we're looking at Fnatic, we're not seeing... Oh, nice combo here by Fnatic. They're going for the first kill of the game, but Darkmok slides out in the last second. Well played here by him. So yeah, good job by him making this happen and making sure that he's not going to die here, at least not yet. We're seeing at the same time to the left side now also for Fnatic, no Black Scorp today. Instead, it's Shat that's playing. And that might be a permanent addition to the roster. Shad currently a tryout for the team. Black Scorp has actually been saying quite a few times that he's not quite sure if he wants to continue playing Heroes. So I'm not 100% certain what his future is going to look like with Heroes of the Storm. But Fnatic right now already adjusting, adding Shad to the lineup at least for this day. And if he's going to be a permanent addition, that's of course something that we're going to see in the future. When we're talking about the builds, I've been mentioning the auto attack build on Vala, but when we're looking at the rest of the lineup, then we're also seeing Conjurer's Pursuit and Regeneration Master on Jaina and Arthas for Fnatic. Once again, it's of course not really a talent that gives you as much as play on a different map like Tomb of the Spider Queen, but you can get a fair amount of regeneration globes anyways, but you have to of course be quite careful. The length of the game is going to determine to a whole lot how many of those you will actually be able to get. Already the fight down in the mines though, and we have at this point both of the teams aiming for level 4 to get the extra talent and get a bit of an advantage. We also see an adjustment on ETC, by the way. It has been very common to go into the heal talents on ETC, but in this case we're still having Rolling Like a Stone taken, the Power Slide talent. And they are currently starting to aim for Shat, but Carrigan missing the stun. In comes Darkmok, pushes Arthas back. Arthas focused and about to go down, but so is ETC. Both of the tanks extremely low. ETC falls just a second after Arthas, and they're all jumping in on Carrigan right now. Blumbi going straight for a jump, using the Dwarf Toss here to cut them off. And now also the kill against Jaina. A triple kill for Spartanien, a 3-for-1 trade here, very well done by them, and now they have complete control over the mines. They already had a huge surplus in skulls, and they are trying to make sure that there's no way for Fnatic to get a decent-sized golem at this point. Build-wise, we're seeing adjustments made on the side of Spartanien, of course, going straight into the double neck guitar and the rolling like a stone, the 2 power slide talents that I've been talking about. We are seeing the auto attack build being forwarded a bit more with Manticore. We also have now the protective shield for Karazim, and more importantly, we're seeing this protective shield build with leeching plasma starting to shape up. That's something, of course, that Karazim can, or that Tassadar can use to especially make it pretty easy for auto attack heroes like Vala, Muradin, and also ETC to just like give them a bit of additional sustain, but Karazim is really gonna try and do his best to make sure that his teammates are not gonna die here. Jaina, of course, after going for Conjurer's Pursuit, went straight into the Snowstorm. Usually you will see Arcane Intellect here if the Jaina player decided to go into the Deep Chill on level 1. There's a lot of different ways how you can play Jaina these days. It's actually kind of interesting to see that depending on the player, they prefer different builds. We have seen Deep Chill into Arcane Intellect, into Frostbitten. Icelands is played by some players on level 7 a lot more commonly now, but there's still players that go into Frostbitten. So it's pretty cool to actually see that there's another hero out there besides, for example, Vala, that has just such a huge versatility in talents. Talking talents in general, we're seeing also no damage build on Tyrande. You might know already that we have, of course, oftentimes on Tyrande these days now the Searing Arrows being skilled on level 4. It depends a bit on what you want to do, especially, of course, if you have a map where you can play Season Marksman on level 1. But there have been a few builds around where you just like try to get a bit more damage out of your skills, especially, of course, on level 4. Level 1 Ranger's Mark is still pretty common for most builds. We have the Protective Shield now in this case, and already everybody just dancing around up here at the top, not pushing these lanes back too much yet, because they know that there might be a bit of an ambush. Level 7 gives a nice and sweet lead, though, for Team Fnatic. Nobody went for the golem in the mines, by the way. Sorry, the lead, of course, for Spartanien. Fnatic is currently trying to equalize that. We're seeing in the mines still that golem being around, but already 64 of those skulls have been collected for Spartanien. They're rocking this now with the Searing attack. We're seeing the Echo of Heaven taken and Kala's Embrace. And this is really where Tassadar's build is going to shine, because he will be able then to solo defend the lane against the enemy's golem later on. Just spam those shields out on the structures and make sure that he uses his AoE to reduce the hit points as much as he can. So pretty nice setup there. One of the reasons I feel why Spartanien is not really going down into the mines at this point is that they just simply say, why would we? We allow our opponent to push one of these lanes. We don't really want to send the hero in down solo. We are not going to lose anything. We are ahead in experience. We can just play this game for quite some time, and we can just like bide our time for now. They still have a few heroes that they're starting to set up down in the mines, and it's actually at this point also Fnatic who are starting to send heroes down. At this point, for example, we're seeing Tyrael already headed for the golem. That double battle momentum, by the way, taken on Kerrigan and Tyrael. And everybody down here is now starting to aim for a bit of a fight. Frostbitten has been taken. Here comes the first battle and an immediate snipe against Tyrande. Very well played by Spartanien. Great action on their side. And they're trying to now go in for Shat as well. They want Arthas and they're going to get him. He has no escape left to him, and that's another sweet double kill for Spartanien, who are heading immediately for the golem now. They have the upper part on the map, and they can still send ETC up to the top to soak experience here. He can soak the wave, and the rest of the team is already going straight for the golem, with the exception of Tassadar, who's trying to soak everything down to the bot lane. So pretty sweet setup that we are seeing for Spartanien here. It's working out quite well for them, and they are able to get a 94 skull golem at the first one. Of course, in the meantime, we had a bit of a move into the mid lane. This camp is something that you usually only want to get when there's nothing else to get on the map. It's one of the least effective bruiser camps in the entire game on all of the maps combined. It's way more important that you capture your Siege Giant camp and cap it at the normal time, which is why we should see these heroes moving back. And they don't. They cap it first. Now, that's a bit of an odd surprise. That shouldn't have happened. You don't ever want to do that. We are seeing, for example, over here to the right side, how Spartanien is just still waiting to cap their Siege Giant camp. The reasoning behind this is actually quite simple. You want to cap it roughly at the time when your opponent's golem passes their fort. So when this golem passes the fort up here, Gerd is going to move in and going to start capping, and that will result in the Siege Giant standing behind their own gate and therefore being protected. and helping with the Golem defense. So he's going to move in right now. We're going to take it here. You can see up at the top the Golem moving in right now. The Siege Giants will position themselves roughly over here, protected by the gate, and can help with the defense. So a bit of a mistake actually by Fnatic to cap them this early. It must have been miscommunication. You can see that they were already taken out. There's no Siege Giants anymore. So this Golem is even going to be more effective than it already is. They have level 10 now too, and on level 10 we have the Divine Palm. We're seeing the Force Well. Nice snipe against Kerrigan. Spartanien is pushing their way in. They're about to take that first fort, and Mena is now completely exposed. No chance of survival. He's backed into a corner, and that is kill number 6 and number 7 for Spartanien. 7 kills against 1. Great play by them. Didn't even have to use any heroics here. We still have, on this case, Mosh Pit, for example, in the arsenal. There's also the Avatar that has not been used yet. Reign of Vengeance was the only heroic that had to be utilized in that last fight. Spartanien is now up against an opponent who finally reached level 10 as well, and there we see the heroic abilities. They have now finally a chance for Fnatic to fight back. They have Syndragosa and Ring of Frost. There's nice synergy between the talents. You can really try to lock those up. Shadowstalk being used as well. Sanctification. Great Syndragosa here. Here comes the Ring of Frost. At least it should. Not being used just yet. Mena is waiting a bit. Darkmorg is already trying to retreat here, but we have the Maelstrom used, and again ETC moving in, but he's low HP as he uses his Mosh Pit and is focused down immediately. Already the Avatar being used, but we see the Divine Palm just barely saving Blumby here. Triggered, and he has the hit points back up again. They went through the fort, they even put some pressure on the keep, but of course this first Golem is not going to be able to take that down. A very important kill, on the other hand, for Fnatic. That gives them some experience. They're also in a position where they can now finally save that keep and maybe even push the top. You can really tell that this boss for there was not even able to go through the wall. And that was also thanks to those 2 Siege Giants, who, by the way, continued to push the lane and therefore eliminated a tower and the gate itself. So great play here once again. And we have nearly level 13 now for Spartanien, which will result in them running again a slight level advantage. And also, of course, a talent lead, which is the most crucial thing in this game. We're seeing Smexy start up at the top. Shed is there as well. And we have Tyrael, of course, at the front. And especially Tyrael, that is currently rocking that Sanctification. Can now make sure that once Mosh Pit, for example, camps in, he can negate some of the damage. We're talking Reign of Vengeance here. We're talking, of course, also about the Storm and a few other tiles that they could use here. At this point, though, we're having level 13 now taken, and Vala, as predicted already, going into Giant Killer, obviously, since she went for the auto attack build. We're also having now the Relentless talent taken on Karazhan, tries to play a bit more safe here, didn't go into the dash talents. We have for Tacita, again, Prescience, and Dimensional Warp are usually the 2 talents that you will aim for at level 13 and level 16, unless you are forced to go into a Shrink Ray, or you feel that you really need talent to control, let's say, a melee assassin, for example. ETC had a pretty tough time staying alive in the last few fights when he was trying to use his Mosh Pit, so he goes into Spell Shield. That negates some of the damage that we're seeing from Tyrande, from also, of course, Jaina, Kerrigan. Pretty neat talent for him to take here, and one that he will definitely need. The Golems are going to be up again, and also, of course, in this case, the skeletons in the mines. So the mines will open in a few, and that's a chance for Fnatic to maybe come back into this. The problem that they're having is they are still 1 talent behind. They need to get that talent. So they're currently attempting to just move up the top. Interesting timing now also for those Siege Giants to be taken. They are going to be down for another 2 minutes and 50 seconds, so they won't be able to just like help with the defense. But already the wraparound by Spartanien, they are trying to set up a trap here. We are seeing up at the top, though, without the level 13 talent, Fnatic moving in. There's Shadowstalk. They're trying to use it for escape this time, not even for the heals, and they get away. So they don't get trapped, and that's a bit of time lost for Spartanien to get skulls, but they moved into the mines immediately afterwards, have now still a slight lead, and they're using it to get the first skull count, and therefore we're already having level 13 for their opponents, since they were able to soak another lane up at the top, or another wave at the top lane. So for now we have Icy Veins taken. There's also another Ravage talent. Eviscerate has been taken for the additional range, and already Quacknix is starting to jump in. Overflowing Light for Tyrande is going to help them to keep them alive a little bit longer, and already Mosh Pit in position. Straight combo off with a nice Storm here for the extra damage, but not enough to really take all of these players down. Instead, it's Vara who dies first. We're having another attack against Muradin. Muradin is just jumping into the backline, once again trying to escape here. He's already super low, but Fnatic now also with Shadowstalk getting some hit points back. They are in a great position here to maybe take down another player, and they go for Blumby. They will get him, or at least they could. Protective shield has been used. He doesn't have the cooldown on Dwarfs to jump away, and so he dies finally as well. And Fnatic, they're not stopping here. They go for Nurok. They want Gad. Nurok is definitely going to fall. He was using everything in his arsenal to get away here. Prescience, the dimensional shift, but there's just no hope for him this game. 46 skulls already in the hands of Spartanien, but they are losing every single hero here. They're in a really tough position. Only Gad was surviving, and he's already moving back. Those Siege Giants are still at the top trying to push that fort though, and they might succeed even. Quacknix is low on mana and won't single-handedly be able to take down Gad, but we have, of course, Fnatic in the mine still active at the boss, going for it immediately and trying to get that skull count. That will allow them to push the top lane, but they still have to be very careful. They actually need to defend. They can't even push with their golem because their keep is exposed, and that is still a bit of an awkward spot. So Spartanien lost the fight in the mines. They still have quite a few skulls, but they didn't really get like a huge amount of skulls. They didn't really get a surplus or a couple of kills. They lost the fight in general, and then they had to move back. Now we're having 8 kills against 5, and Spartanien has to be very careful how they are approaching this now. They can't run into the trap here. If they lose heroes now, that would be a disaster, and it looks like Vala is indeed gonna fall. Nice combo with Kerrigan's composition, and then immediately made a moving in with the Ring of Frost, and also with his Blizzard. Well played here. They get the kill against Vala. Was actually really well done. The combo on Quacknix with Kerrigan for the stuns was already great, and then Jaina was there immediately for the burst damage with the Blizzard and using the Ring of Frost too. They get the kill, so now they can just like move on, defend. Yet at the same time, oh, the kill against Karazim. Now that's an interesting touch. I'm not 100% certain where exactly he died. He probably could have been died to the poison. I missed this a bit. I'm sorry for that. But we have the boss still going through the keep. So Fnatic losing the keep now. Up at the top, we are seeing the boss for Fnatic trying to just go straight through that fort and eliminate the first structure in the game for Fnatic. Because let's face it, so far the only thing that they've been taking down were towers, and that doesn't really help you too much. The boss already defended against up at the bottom. We have level 16s coming in for both of those teams, and at this point right now, of course, still a slight advantage in speed, at least for now, for Fnatic. Those shields, by the way, you can really tell how they are keeping the fort alive. The entire time that boss has been on the structures, but Nurok is just like spamming out the shield every 5 seconds he has it. It's extremely strong, thanks of course to the level 1 talent with the reinforced structure, and that's something that allows them to keep all these structures still in place and make sure that Fnatic doesn't grab up that extra experience here too. So a pretty solid talent build actually for this map in particular. Normally these days you already see the level 4 and level 7 talent for Tassadal's shields, but now it's also the level 1 talent that on certain maps seems to be extremely viable, especially when we're talking about Haunted Mines. Tassadal, since the last patch, has just become a major asset for most of the teams. He wasn't really played in the European server before that. He was very situational if you could play him, but right now he's one of the standard picks that we're seeing in the game. Both of the teams, of course, now on the same level and also on the same talent, and that means that we're seeing now aggressive defense. We have Stone Skin, we see the Northern Exposure for Jaina for a bit more burst potential, and we're also now looking again after the Lunar Blaze on level 7 on Shooting Star on level 16. Pretty old school build actually. It's something that you don't see as much anymore. Follow through is a little bit more common for extra damage, and then later on you have a few options here as well. But this is more one of these additional utility builds that we see. Nice force wall here to try and isolate a target. Great Syndragosa, nearly locking everybody down. And once again ETC is going for the mosh pit, but he only hits one and is immediately focused down. Not really the best heroic that we've seen there. Didn't get into a good enough position. Fnatic was really paying attention to their positioning, making sure that ETC did not get a good ult off. That's of course this is like the game-breaking ult right now. If you hit a good ETC mosh pit, then you can win a fight and take down the entire opponent's team. Fnatic is very aware of that. They position themselves in a way that they can always jump out, they get the fort up at the top, and they for the first time in this game now take a lead in experience. They could also take the Bruiser camp in the middle of the map, since it is a 5 versus 4 situation. It's 10 seconds until the next mines open. They already move into the mines actually to take that position. Could have tried and bursted down the Bruiser camp before to put another spot on the map that Spartanien has to defend against, but they wanted to have the position in the mines first, and therefore they had to back down. Quacknix and Mene are cut off on the other hand. Oh, Nurok's force ball here could have actually been really good, but Kerrigan is already gone. So everybody heading back into the mines already, and there we have Spartanien in position, trying to catch them. They're not even going for the skulls right away. They were just like trying to look if they can maybe catch one of the players on the side of Fnatic. And they're going up down to the bottom here, where Mene is super exposed. They have been driving a wedge between the players, and now they get their kill. Spartanien with the kill and the lead. They go straight into the fight. Quacknix, oh my god, is also blowing to pieces, and Breeze is not escaping either. It's a triple kill, and all because two of the players were just trying to get another wave. We had Quacknix, and also in this case, of course, then Jaina, Mene, trying to get another wave up at the top. They didn't go into the mines with the other three players. Spartanien was able to drive a wedge between those five, and now we're seeing just like one player after another die for Fnatic, and the advantage that they fought for so hard is not only negated, they are in a really shitty spot right now. They lost 3 players, they're about to lose a 4th, all of the mines are open, the skulls are going to be taken by Spartanien, and they're just like going to get a massive advantage here. They take down Arthas. Once again, the experience lead now in favor of Spartanien. Fnatic is really just like scrambling to stay alive here, because that golem is going to be massive. That's going to be a 75 skull golem that is already on core more or less. There is no keep left, and they can push with it. They won't have a talent lead, but they will have a very, very substantial golem advantage, and if they can stay behind the golem, wait for a chance to maybe get a pick, then Spartanien could very well end the game on this particular golem here. If they play it risky, they can play it safe, they can say, okay guys, let's not overextend, let's just wait a little bit and let the golem do its thing. We can in the meantime take the map and gain the advantage, maybe like push the top lane a bit, try to aim for the second keep. But if they want, and if they are feeling lucky, then they can try and push the bot lane here pretty... Oh, and especially if they get the kill! The vision and the kill against Kerrigan. Oh my god, Spartanien, they lock down Kerrigan, they take her down, and now they can fight for the rest. The golems are already on lane, and the one for Spartanien is moving straight for the core. Blumby jumps in. Can he get the Stormbolt off? Here comes Arthas with Syndragosa, but Fnatic, they are on the run, and they lose Kerrigan in the process. 2 heroes down, the golem is already on the core, and this is a horrible position for Fnatic to be in. This couldn't be much worse. Here comes Spartanien, they're starting to move in for this, and it looks like they might well be able to end the game here. Blumby, Darkmork, the rest of Spartanien, they're all moving in. Only Shat, Smexy, Star, and Breeze are left. They're trying to defend this, but there's very little hope of succeeding. 50%, and that boss is going ham on the core here. No chance of defense, and this is the 1-0 lead in the best of 3 series for Spartanien. Well played, and GG. Great map control here by the team in red. And we're back with game number 2 in the best of 3 series here between Fnatic and Spartanien. To the right side of the map we have Spartanien, and to the left, of course, once again it is Fnatic with Shat on Tyrael. We have Breeze on ETC this time, Mane on Jaina, Smexy Style on Malfurion for the heals, and Quacknix on Falstad. To the right side of the map, it is Spartanien in the 1-0 lead in the best of 3 with Blumby on Muradin. We're seeing Nurok playing Tyrande, Crosby on Khaldor, Darkmork on Diablo, and Gerd Amhead is playing Brightwing. So once again we're seeing pretty familiar heroes, at least if you paid attention to the last game. Tacita not part of the match this time. I also want to highlight that unfortunately I do not have the draft links for these matches, so I don't know which heroes were banned out. But in this case, of course, we can assume that we saw also a ban on Tacita here, especially after how the last map went. We see Diablo back to business, and it's actually kind of nice to see that on the side of Spartanien here. We've already seen a few Diablo games played, especially by Virtus.pro. Virtus.pro has reintroduced Diablo into the meta, especially in the combo with Tyrande, which we're also seeing for Spartanien. It's that overpower, that stun into stun comp, and of course if you have not only Diablo but then also Muradin, there's so many stun and control spells that we're seeing for Spartanien right now that you know from the get-go that they are trying to look for kills on the map, trying to dominate the early game. So that's extremely important for them. That's why they're having Gravity Labs, the stuns on Tyrande, on Muradin, Diablo, Diablo, the Polymorph for Brightwing. There's a lot of options that they have with this, but the idea is to be aggressive early on, get the kills in. And it's also the reason why Smexy style on Malfurion is currently playing this extremely passive and not even moving out. We have a wraparound here up at the top. You see Mena and the rest moving in. Nurok missing the stun here. Was anticipating Breeze to move forward, which he didn't do. But we have Fnatic with Falstad up to the top. Already rocking that new skin. Looking actually pretty sweet here. Get Amherd. Both of those heroes, of course, extremely mobile, which is one of the reasons why they're facing each other on the top lane, so that they can jump into the battle at any moment in time. A bit of a different build also on Tyrande, which we see with on level 1 talent and Empower taken over the Ranger's mark that you could take here. So it's going to be one of those builds where Tyrande is going to aim for Ranger later on, probably also going to use Pierce then on level 4. We don't see the build as often, but it's actually a pretty sweet build if you also want to cancel channel tributes, or tribute channels. So that's something that we're going to see later on. It helps when you use that on, let's say, Black Mart's Bay as well. So that's the idea behind it, trying to delay your opponents who try to go for a channel on a certain tribute, get the damage in with the Owl as well, and still have, of course, that snipe potential. Diablo with Soul Feast on level 1, the standard talent for him to take these days with the extra regeneration. Besides that, we have Rolling Like a Stone also taking with the range of Power Slide, so it's basically pretty normal ETC build that we're seeing here. But once again, I want to highlight that a lot of ETC builds these days also start to go into the healing, and then on 13 add groupies to the equation. But we have, now that 2 minutes have passed, teams moving straight for the first few mercenary camps on the map, especially Fnatic. Spartan hasn't really taken any yet. And of course, if they win this map, then they are successful in the best of 3 and will take this with a 2-0. We're not there just yet, but they played a very, very convincing first game here. And Fnatic has to step it up a bit if they want to tie the series. We see again Conjure's Pursuit into Snowstorm taken, and we have on level 4 Flow Rider now for Falstad, so it looks more and more like we're going to see him maybe with that auto attack build once again, even though he didn't go into Season Marksman. Here comes the combo with a stun. They're going straight for Breeze. He slides away, but still dies. Well played by Nurok and Darkmok, but a lot of pressure on Tyrande. Shed was jumping in with Tyrael, has to move away now though, and they are in a 5 versus 4 situation, Spartanien that is, and they might get the kill against Tyrael now too. They get the 2 tanks of Fnatic. Well played and a very good start into the game, at least this early on. Keep in mind that the healer was not with them. We had Falstad and also Brightwing still up at the top. The 2 of them were trying to just like leech experience here, and especially, of course, Get Amherd has to defend against that camp that was taken earlier. The towers have taken some damage, but not too much just yet. It's still a leading experience for Spartanien. They are currently starting to control this game, and with them heading into level 7 now, they will add the extra talent a lot faster than their opponents, which will give them a nice and sweet lead for the next potential fight. Already camps attacked on the map, especially when we're talking about Siege Giant camps. You have, of course, a lot of pushing power here. We see now 3 minutes into the game, we've seen the golems spawn, and those are going to be absolutely crucial then later on too. With the talents, we have Peekaboo taken, Phase Shield and Hyper Shift for Brightwing, so a full focus on the Phase Shift, which is very common for Brightwing. You will sometimes see on level 4 the Pixie Dust talent taken instead, but in such a game, Peekaboo is going to give you a lot of vision, and since there are a lot of potential party pushers, you want to make sure that you're not going to run into some kind of like battle momentum after Fire Devil for Diablo for extra damage, and on level 7 we are also now seeing finally Cleanse taken for Malfurion, which is of course more or less a must if you're up against this many stuns that can be chained. Just Keep Rockin' has been used, and here comes another snipe, and this is the strength of this setup. We've been talking about it at the beginning of the game when we were talking about team compositions. It's just so brutal to see this combo go up for kills on the map. They roam, they get a kill, especially Diablo with his gap closer just jumps in, gets the first stun, and if Tyrande pays attention, it's basically a guaranteed kill. It's one of the reasons why at this point Fnatic is just trying to hit their level 10 so that they finally get Sanctification for Tyrael, and that they also get the Mosh Pit, which all of those things will start to allow them to control fights a bit better. But here in the early game, they are suffering, and it is absolutely visible now. We have even Spartanien now on the hunt for camps on the opponent's side of the map. They go for the Bruiser camp, steal that away. The original idea here, of course, was to try and kill a hero, but since they didn't get that opportunity, they at least said, alright boys, let's go straight for the camp and make sure that they have to move into the middle of the map to defend, and that's exactly where we're seeing Mena and Breeze currently active. The next tribute should be announced very soon. And let's not forget that one of the biggest threats to Fnatic is now that with that lead in experience, Spartanien will hit level 10 faster. It's also a very good position for Spartanien with the curse that is now appearing on the map, since they are in position with 3 of their heroes already. Right wing can easily jump in, and Khaldor is on his way. But now we have the camp taken, they can push the mid lane, especially of course if that's going to be a prolonged fight, and both of the teams aiming for the battle here. They're having everybody get ready with Blumby at the front, trying to take the damage. Diablo behind him is waiting for a chance to maybe jump in and get a good hit against somebody. Level 10 isn't there yet. Brightwing is still soaking experience, which is exactly what they're trying to do. Nurok could interrupt this again, and does exactly that. And Fnatic has to move back. They can't stay here. Level 10 hits any second right now, and that's something that Spartanien knows. They're already moving in. They want this fight, and they want it now. But Diablo is a bit far out. Can they heal him? Brightwing is already in, can't jump again for the shield. They don't have their rogue ability just yet, but they go in regardless. And Diablo dies first, and they might also lose Muradin. He's jumping away, but it's a bit too late since Shat moves in with a Druid's Might and takes him down. Level 10's finally for Fnatic, but it's already too late. They lost 2 of their heroes, and Fnatic is going to hit their rogue ability now any second as well. Great position for Fnatic to be in, but they have not gotten the tribute yet, and this is a cursed tribute that we're seeing. Fnatic already has lost 2 tributes earlier on. This is the 3rd one, but there's the 10 versus 10 Sanctification, Mosh Pit, Ring of Frost, Tranquility, and Mighty Gust have been used. And in this case now, Spartanien has to just yield the objective. Or do they? They go in again. Already the Lightning Breath being used. Breeze just barely getting away. The Ring of Frost is in position and makes Dartmook's life a living hell. But we still see them with very low hit points on their main tank, or on both of their tanks, and therefore they have to retreat. That curse could hit hard, and it's the kill against Falstad. They hit it, they move in, get the stun combo off, and there's just no escape. Barrel Roll was not ready, and he was locked down anyways. And with the curse, you see Fnatic go immediately for the boss. This is like one of the cool things that you can do on the map. Of course, you could try and just like push one of the lanes, but a boss basically means a free fort at this point. And if you are level 10 and you're also ahead, your opponent, if they contest you, first of all, they risk they've been annihilated, and also these lanes are pushing hard against Fnatic now. Them trying to take the boss up here at the top means that they can't defend the bot lane, they can't defend the mid lane. And the longer this fight lasts, the more these lanes are going to be pushed. So it's a win-win situation for Spartanien, as long as they don't lose their team. Once again, everybody jumping in up at the top. The Mosh Pit hitting 2, and Khaldor is one of them. He gets taken down, and Nurok falls as well. Wow, Fnatic with a Mosh Pit that they needed. They get the double kill, and that was crucial. They still start losing structures down to the bot lane. The mid lane was also attacked hard by these waves during the curse, but Quatnis flew in and is starting to defend it, even pushing the creeps back here with this Mighty Gust. It doesn't have a long cooldown, it's a 40-second cooldown. He's just saying every second, any second that I buy the fort is going to be a victory for us, so let's use it right now. Bot lane is still falling, but Fnatic has a slight lead in experience. These 2 kills were crucial for them. They were so important. No boss for Spartanien, but they are trying to change that. They are back to the boss again, and with 3 heroes, they are trying to claim that, but already Smexy style is over there. So we're going to use the Moonfire spam to see what's going on, and that's exactly what he does. Right wing, as a reaction, immediately jumps in, and now they have a 5-man mission trying to go for the boss. And, well, ETC is not with Fnatic yet, so this could be the chance for Spartanien. They move in, try to get the boss, but already Shat jumps in. Everybody's on the point right now. Blumby goes into Lightning Breath by Diablo. They get the kill against Malfurion, and this is not going to be a nice battle for Fnatic at all. They are about to maybe lose another hero. Depends on if Dartmoor can just close the distance. Quatnix is already low. Blumby doesn't see him though, and the barrel roll was still active, so he could move away. But it's still the kill against Malfurion. The boss ends up in the hands of Fnatic though. They steal it away, and that's just insane. They get the steal on the boss, but the kill against Fnatic, Malfurion paid a heavy price for it, but it was a price well worth paying. So they get it. Ah well, Breeze was pushing most of them just from the point, so job well done here. And Smexy style is pretty happy with his team member here. So that was a very nice move by Fnatic, but also the kill, of course, against Malfurion again, and therefore a bit of experience for Spartanien. We're seeing now, well, at least Falstad again after he went into Secret Weapon with Giant Killer. So auto attacks, that's his game now. Imposing Will, we have the Showstopper now taken for ETC. We're seeing the Ice Block on not only Jaina but also Malfurion, and now also level 13 for Spartanien. It's a pretty fun game though. Like in the beginning it was as predicted, Spartanien that really called the shots on the map. They were the ones trying to look for kills with all that CC that they have on their team. And now in the later stages, now that we have in the mid-game the heroic abilities finally ready for both of the teams, it's a bit easier for Fnatic to work against this, since they have Mighty Gust that they can also use to, of course, reposition their opponents, especially important when you're trying to go for a boss steal. They have ETC with the Mosh Pit, the Sanctification to negate some of that burst damage, and all of these things, they really pay off. We have finally now, on the other hand, well, the chain bombs for Khaldor, and he's going to try and use those. Once again, here comes the Lightning Breath. ETC still using his Mosh Pit. He gets a very good one, but there was no damage to follow this up. The heroic ability used by Smexy Style went into Tranquility to not only keep himself alive, but also rescue Breeze here, and he does. But it's still that 5 versus 5 position in the game, and Spartanien might be behind in experience, but they force the opponents back, at least for now. Have a chance to take one of the towers down, maybe even get a few hits in against that boss, but I highly doubt that they are willing to really commit completely to it yet. So we have, with 5 kills against 4, a very balanced game on map number 2 between the two teams. Keep in mind that, of course, Spartan is still ahead. They are in the 1-0 lead in the series, and if they just get one more hit, one more game, then they will be the winners of this series. Right now, the mid lane being pushed hard. And one of the biggest advantages that you, of course, have if you use Brightwing in your setup is that you are able to use her on the other side of the map to get a bit of split push experience. And this is exactly what we've seen Gerd do the entire time. He's pushing the bot lane, the rest of the team is moving into the middle and making sure that they get the kill on the fort, and he just soaks more and more experience to the bottom of the map and can always jump in if need be. So far, they didn't really end up in that situation. Falstad is trying to fill a very similar role with his flying ability. He can just like push the top lane, and that's what he's currently been trying to do. We have another camp also taken, and these Siege Giant camps over the game, over the duration of the game, have been doing quite a lot of work. Already a bit of a trap set, and it looks like they're trying to burst the boss down. In the meantime, there's a curse up at the top, and Fnatic is expecting Spartanien to fight for it, but they don't. ETC sees what's going on though, but he's a bit too late. Fnatic immediately moves down, and keep in mind there's a Mighty Gust as well. Breeze is providing vision. Quarknix is in position. He can use the Mighty Gust, and is he gonna do it? Yes, he does! Breeze is trying to snipe it, and he claims the boss again. Quarknix with a great heroic. They pushed everybody off, the boss stolen, and boys, if I was Spartanien, I'd be pissed right now. They run into the mosh pit as well, a 4-man mosh pit by Breeze, great heroic, really nice play by him here, and they take not only Khaldor but also Tyrande down, and they will hit level 16 faster. What a play by Fnatic. They are at the top of the map fighting for the tribute. Breeze, the only one who sees what's going on. The immediate reaction is Falstad flying down, going into position for Mighty Gust. Spartanien doesn't realize it, and then ETC pushes them back. Mighty Gust does the rest, and of course the boss claim, and even the double kill, and now triple kill against Spartanien. What a game by Fnatic right now. Great reactions, good shot calling that we saw here now too. And by now they also use Holy Ground. We have the Echo Paddle. There's for, of course, Falstad who went to the Giant Killer. Now Hammer Time for the additional stun. And this is just such a great position for them to be in. They have the extra talent. They have a 1.5 level lead, and they push in with the boss now. For Spartanien, this is a horrible position. They don't have the level 16 talent, and they really need it. They're trying to somehow fight this boss, but it is really difficult. They lose the gate, they lose one of the towers, or they will soon. And we just have a rotation again by Fnatic into the mid lane. Falstad was already busy there, starting to take down the structures. And this is exactly the game that Fnatic is trying to play here. They are calling the shots right now. They are the ones who just dictate the pace of the game. And Spartanien has to react to what's happening right now. They're always trying to make a few plays, like going for the boss, but it just doesn't work out for them at all. And at this point, Fnatic feels probably pretty confident in their abilities to take map number 2. But the game, of course, isn't over just yet. And level 16 has just now hit for Spartanien, and that allows them to fight on eye level with their opponents. We have Stone Form for Meridian. There's also the Ranger talent for Tyrande. She is going to get even more damage out of this. We have Arcane Intellect, Rampage after Firestorm, and now Bouncy Dust. And everybody is going up for the fight to the top again. Phoenix in play. Mighty Gust for the retreat, covering the movements of Fnatic now. Good job. And you can really tell that especially Falstad is starting to spam this out a lot. If you think about it, we always talk about how low that cooldown on Phoenix is for Khaldor, and Mighty Gust is exactly the same. Has a 40-second cooldown, you can use that to just make sure that you push the opponent back, and if you use that, it's going to be up just a few seconds later. So that's what we're seeing right now. The big difference, I would say, between the two talents is that the cooldown is, of course, already starting to take off once that you used Phoenix. So while it's still in its duration, cooldown is already reduced, and that is a bit of an advantage, makes the cooldown seem even shorter. By the way, down to the bot lane, the lifespan of Falstad has suddenly been shortened by 100%. He was taken out by a nice 5-man roam. The problem, of course, is that it also means they're going to give up the boss up to the top. But we are seeing the tribute spawn, and Gerd is going to try and get this, and this would be another curse against Fnatic. Maybe the chance that Spartanien has been waiting for. They lose out on the boss to the top lane, but they might get another kill. They go for ETC, and they try to hit the stun. One stun in the Phoenix. Well, a bit too late here. Crosby not really doing too much with that. The curse has been hit though, and now at the bot lane there is a big camp now also pushing in, and Gerd is with them. Up to the top, we're seeing Blumby starting to go in, and that's triggering an immediate phase shift by Gerd here, trying to help his team out. So they take down one of the forts up at the top. At the bot lane, the wall is starting to fall. That golem here, or that, yeah, that's the siege giant, is going to help out with that too. That's why we're seeing Smexistar reacting, and Shad also moving over to help out. But they already lost quite a few structures, and of course Spartanien is forced to also eventually defend against the boss of their opponent. They are still a level behind, and that level 20, that Storm talent that we're going to see for Fnatic will give them a slight lead. But still, if you have such a setup as Spartanien, you can hope for that one kill. And then level 20 or not level 20 doesn't really matter too much. If you put your opponent into a 4 versus 5 position, then you can still fight these battles. So if they get a good angle, if they set up a flank, if they maybe position themselves in one of these bushes and take down Jaina, Smexy style, one of these squishies, they could make a lot of happen here. They're a bit too late for the Bruiser camp to contest it, but Falstad is once again down to the lane. And if they move in now, they might actually be able to get him. I'm pretty sure they could get him. And yep, there's the first attempt to stun him out. Mighty Gust has been used. Peekaboo. Gerd is trying to move in. Blinks to the creep wave. Can use the polymorph, and Quacknix is gonna fall. There's absolutely no way that he's going to escape this. The Mighty Gust was a nice touch, but I feel the only chance that he had was to fly away immediately, and as far as I could tell, he was still in cooldown. The level 20 talent still hits for Fnatic, but as I already said, if you find yourself in a 4 versus 5, it's still one of these things that you can try and pull off. And they have to take a risk, and they're playing it risky. They go for the boss, the third time's the charm. That's what they've been thinking here. They need to be careful about ETC though. Breeze is starting to move in here now. Darkmork already waiting for him, trying to stun him out. ETC stunned once, stunned twice. The boss is there. Everybody jumps in, goes straight for it. It has been channeled, and again it has been stolen. Again the steal with the holy ground and everything else. We have Fnatic stealing the third boss away from Spartanien. Unbelievable. Spartanien lost 3 bosses already. They were taking down 3 of them, and they lost every single one. Absolutely crazy. The boss is moving through the bot lane, and oh boy, would I be salty if that would happen to me. They have level 20 versus level 19. The Storm talents out, and Spartanien gets the kill. They get the snipe. They do exactly what they need to do. Then they play the risky game and go for boss, which I don't fault them for at all. It's a 4 versus 5. It's one of the best moves that they could make, but they need to make sure that they claim the boss, and they lose out on it. Now we have at the bot lane the boss pushing in. It's a 5 versus 5 situation once that right wing jumps in, currently positioned at the top, but still this keep is going to fall, and level 20s are still half a level away for Spartanien. Fnatic moving back here. Can they actually? They save the keep. They save the keep for now. Fnatic is not pushing the issue. They're still playing safe here. So yeah, even with the 20s, I feel they could have gone in and take the keep, but they don't.
there is another tribute now on the map that they can still get before Spartanien hits their next level. And Spartanien is already aiming for the Siege Giants, and Fnatic is lingering around, trying to maybe get another snipe here. The Owl already revealing the position of every single player on the team. Level 20 is so close, and Brightwing is doing her job and will deliver the talent eventually to the rest of the team. And here it is, Storm talents for both teams now. The double blink, a lot of passive talents here, especially for Fnatic. They also use now the Epic Mount, which by the way has the same icon as the Hypershift talents for Brightwing, just saying. So we have 4 in a row at this point. We also have, after Lightning Breath was taken, Hellstorm on 20 and Hunter's Swiftness for Tyrande for movement speed. That makes it even easier for them now to set one of these ganks up. And of course, mobility for a lot of the heroes, and at the same time the survivability thanks to the Hardened Shield for Muradin. So the team is going to try and get one of their kills early on again. Both of the teams are very cautious, as you can tell. Trying to just like move through those jungle areas, go into some of these bushes, try to make sure that they know where the opponent is headed to. And also, of course, this boss up at the top lane is going to be one of the major focus points for both of the teams. And that's one of the reasons why we saw Fnatic position themselves there. They were trying to hope for someone to just rotate in so that they could get a snipe before the boss spawns on the map. But we have Tribute and Boss up, and that is very dangerous to Spartanien. That's the 3rd Tribute for Fnatic. They take the camp first, so they have a camp pushing. But this is a very important Tribute, and Blumby, is he going to be able to jump in? Oh, the Hellstorm! The Hellstorm with the damage. Oh my god, Breeze jumps away in the last second. That was super dangerous. Shad is also trying to escape here. He might not even be able to, but Tranquility is keeping everybody alive. Good job by Malfurion. Maxistar hitting his ult just in time to keep the rest of the team alive. And we have Darkmook rather low on Diablo, but he's going deep once again. Gets healed a second later. Breeze is low, and the 3-man mosh pit. It's the money mosh pit right there. Ring of Frost, and everybody explodes. The damage, it's a triple kill, and it will be a curse that follows in just a second. Smexistar already channeling the tribute. Nurok is also dead, and this is not only a quad kill, this is going to be game, ladies and gentlemen. We have Fnatic moving to the top, taking down the keep, and they will advance to the core in a second. They don't even bother taking the boss. They're just saying, why on earth would we do that? We can finish the game right now. We move in and we tie the series. We force them into the 3rd game. And this was a great performance. This was like a great show of strength on the side of Fnatic. Very well controlled, and of course, Spartanien very unlucky, especially with all of these bosses. Fnatic played a very smart game, and they are rewarded with a victory here. And we are going to see game number 3 in just a few.
Alright, boys and girls, it comes down to the last map, Tomb of the Spider Queen. The series is tied. Fnatic going up against Spartanien. To the left side in our 3rd map, we have Shat on Johanna, we have Breeze on ETC, Smexistar playing Tyrande, Quacknix on Sylvanas, and Mene is playing Jaina. So we have Tyrande as the solo support for the team. And to the right side for Spartanien, we see Nurok on Tyrael, we have Get Amherd on Karazim, Crosby on Kel'Thas, Darkmock playing Reyna, and Blumby is playing Muradin in this game. This map is going to decide which team is going to take the victory in the series, and already very interesting talents here. We've been talking the entire time when we saw ETC in the last 2 games about how especially these healing talents are starting to become a bit more popular on him. And now we are seeing exactly that. We have Prog Rock on level 1, and on level 13 we will see groupies. And the reason for that is actually pretty simple. With them using Tyrande as a solo healer, they want to make sure that they get other sustain talents as well for their heroes. We could see on level 4 then also Johanna going into her own sustain talent instead of just simply using another condemned talent. There's a couple of options of what they could do in general, but this is already a very cool start into the game. Of course, Spartanien, they're not going to make a potential victory for Fnatic easy. They're going to do their best to actually ruin the party here and take the victory themselves, especially with them going into Seasoned Marksman on Reyna here on level 1. The whole idea would be to just try and rotate with the hero between lanes and get as many Seasoned Marksman stack as possible. But currently, we're seeing Darkmock very much solo at the bot lane. So they need to make sure that at some point at least he'll be able to rotate along a bit and get more of his Seasoned Marksman stack, so that in the later stages of the game, he's going to be that massive tank killer that we all know. Especially since they're, of course,
2 tanks on the side of Fnatic already. And Fnatic is making this rotation happen right now. One of the big advantages that you have with the Tyrande as a solo heal is that you are very aggressive in the early stages of the game. So your roam is usually going to be stronger, which is actually one of the reasons why Spartanien is currently not really going for a roaming strategy, since they realize that early on in the game they are going to suffer a bit against their opponents, and therefore they will wait until the healer can really unfold its full potential and really bring that to the scale. At the same time now though, we also have a Sylvanas for Fnatic, and that means that they can push pretty hard. If they get an opportunity here to hit level 10 faster and release the Web Weavers, they will have immense pushing power on the lanes thanks to Sylvanas. Also, of course, there is quite a bit of lane pressure from Johanna herself. It got nerfed in the last patch a bit, so did the Skeleton Swing of Leoric, but Night Take Spawn is still a very, very cool talent to take and still very strong. So it's not as overpowered anymore as it was in the past, but it's still a great asset for a team that wants to push lanes back heavily. Blumbi at the bot lane is being attacked, shouldn't have a problem jumping away from this one, and he uses his bunny hop to just get out of there immediately, using the Dwarf Toss here. But already a pretty cool start in the game, in my opinion. We have like this battle between a very aggressive setup for Fnatic, trying to be aggressive with that Tyrande solo healer, and at the same time a bit more of a defensive play for their opponents, trying to get into the later stage of the game where Khaldor is going to hit his level 13. He will get the damage of the chain bombs in. The season marksman stacks of course, Reyna are just going to add up over the game and will make him very difficult to deal with in the later stages. So the longer the game goes, the better the position for Spartanien is going to be, but they cannot just like sit tight and wait. They need to make sure that they at least contest the objective, and that will force them out on the map. It's one of the most beautiful things about Heroes of the Storm, if you think about it, that you will never see a team just playing passive for like half an hour or something, trying to just hug the towers. They have to move out. They have to just do something about it. And talking about doing things, we have nearly a kill against Gadamhead and Darkmok. A good dash here from Gadamhead brings him back to safety, and the both of them had still the well up and could heal. So both teams on even experience. Level 4 talents have been taken. We have on level 4 now still the double neck guitar. No Laws of Hope. Eternal Retaliation has been taken for the additional cooldown reduction on Johanna. Laws of Hope would have been something that would have worked quite well, since it gives Johanna extra sustain, but they want to go into the more aggressive talent here. Not only does it give Johanna even more wave clear, but it allows her to get that talent off in those fights, or the ability off in the fights, even more. Again, we have the teams jumping in. An attempt by Fnatic to lay a trap has not worked out. Instead, they're about to lose Jaina now. Great moves here. Good Stormbolt, and then the follow-up by Grosby with his own stun using the Gravity Lapse, and of course with Darkmok just going ham on the trigger. They were able to take down Jaina easy peasy. First kill of the game, therefore, for Spartanien. Fnatic lost the first hero, and up at the top lane they're trying to maybe attack Nurok, but yeah, Nurok is rocking his battle beast here and is not falling into that trap that easily. So far I really like how cautious Spartanien was in general, that they don't have heroes out on the map like too far out and overextending. It's a very difficult game that they play at this part, of course, because there's so much, like if you have Tyrande and Jaina on the opponent's team, this is just like the snipe potential that your opponent has. And if you then also talk about the Condemn and Breeze with his own stun that he can use thanks to the power slide, there's a lot of potential to just heroes being picked off, and it's something that Fnatic has been looking for. Both of the teams at level 7 at the same time, but the blue team, they turn in their gems first, and they have the Web Weavers now. And let's keep in mind that we have with Sylvanas a very aggressive hero when it comes to lane presence and push power. The problem, of course, is that Quacknix is already really low. Oh, but the kill against Reyna, and that's what they've been looking for. Reyna down, and with 4 heroes, they can now move down to the bot lane. We will see that Shadow Dagger coming into play now, disabling the towers, and this is what I've been mentioning at the beginning of the game. This aggression that you can unfold once that you get a slight lead and have Sylvanas in your team. The dominance that you have with these Web Weavers, and this is what they're currently showcasing here. Level 7 Conviction has now been taken. We are also talking Fission Bomb, Echo of Heaven, the Battle Momentum for Tyrael, and of course the Unstable Poison for Sylvanas. They've been pushing this in hard, but Fnatic is still playing this very careful. They don't want to lose in a team fight. They know that they will get that fort eventually. The lockdown attempt against Blumbi, but the stun hits just a second too late and allows Muradin to jump away. The fort is nearly eliminated though, and they still push back the other lanes too, as Shat is moving into the mid lane and doing what he can here to eliminate the towers. So a great effort by Fnatic this early on. They're actually trying to lay a trap here, so that Fnatic could maybe get a kill against Spartanien, attempting to get their own web weaver. They still have 60 gems, which is more than enough. They already turned in 33, but the kill against Khaldor here, a very nice move. Good job on their side. And also down to the bot lane, we have another potential kill, this time against Fnatic though. They lose Sylvanas to get Amhead and Darkmok. I don't think that they really expected that. The combo between Reyna and Karazim successful against Sylvanas, and they get the kill. Level 10 is very close at this point, and that means that we could see Fnatic get another web weaver wave before we have the completed turn-in for Spartanien. They don't have enough gems yet, but they're working on it. But it's still the attempt for their opponents to finally get a web weaver wave on their own. The problem is really just that this heroic ability is going to ruin this effort. And that's what we've been talking about earlier. You try to push this with Sylvanas, which they did. They didn't take the fort at the bot lane, but this web weaver wave that they are now about to get will probably finish the job, and then they can focus their efforts to the top or the mid lane with Sylvanas, who's already doing a great work here with Unstable Poison. We have them starting to turn in. Shad is on 24 gems. We have 49. They are missing out on 6. And they have enough gems now to turn those in. They just need to make sure that they're putting Quarknix in position at one of the turn-in spots before Spartanien hits their level 10. But Spartanien is trying to turn in now too. They're trying to sneak it in at the top. They're not as successful in doing that yet, but both of the teams are now on level 10s, and that means Phoenix, which is already ruining the efforts of Fnatic to turn in on their own. This could actually be pretty nasty here. Fnatic, they want to get the advantage, but now it's eye-level play still again, and we have both of them fighting for the turn-in opportunity. That's the heroic abilities. We see Ring of Frost, Wailing Arrow. We have Shadowstalk obviously for Toranda. Mosh Pit and Blessed Shield. A lot of stuns, a lot of control talents here. The Wailing Arrow also with the Silence. Very dangerous to Spartanien. They have Divine Palm and Sanctification. Here comes the Silence only for Reyna though. That doesn't really help them too much. But oh the Ring of Frost with the Blizzard and the Mosh Pit eliminates Khaldor, and they lose Reyna now too. Both of the damage dealers for Fnatic, for Spartanien are already gone. Fnatic 4 kills against 2. They will get the next web weaver wave now as well if they want it. They can move in, turn in, up to the top. Shed is already taking down another wave. They have currently 25 gems. That's more than enough for them to get the web weavers. And Sylvanas is indeed turning in. That was a pretty nice pick that they got there. And Breeze with his Mosh Pits is really on fire. I mean, in the last game, you already got a couple of pretty nice ones. That 1 4-man Mosh Pit that we saw in the last map when we were looking at Cursed Hollow was absolutely amazing. And so far, he's been doing a pretty good job with his heroic abilities on ETC. Let's see if he can continue doing that over the rest of the game. Let's not forget that we still have 78 gems for Spartanien. They have lost a few heroes, but they really didn't lose too many gems. And they still have not only 1 turn-in, but they could potentially get 2 in a row, since they already turned in a few of the gems early on. The fort at the bot lane is, of course, destroyed. The mid lane seems to be where Fnatic is going to try and fight. But, well, there's already a defense happening, and now the top lane is the center of attention for the teams. Another fort has been eliminated. Sylvanas is actually doing her thing down to the bot lane, and they are about to hit level 13 now. It's a very difficult position that you're in when you fall behind on a map like Tomb of the Spider Queen. And it's something that Spartanien will have to really fight for to get back into. Maybe with a good pick against a hero like Quarknix, they can make a play here. But it's level 13 talents, and not everybody for Spartanien is at the bot lane. They don't lose the wall yet. Level 13 talents with Hold Your Ground now taken. Groupies, as predicted earlier, for the extra heals. So that's going to help ETC to sustain his team. Overflowing Light, Evasive Fire, and improved Ice Block. And Spartanien is 1.5 levels behind, and now their only chance is, first of all, they need to turn in. That's the most important thing. A turn-in means time, a turn-in means experience, and a turn-in means that they might be able to get the experience that they need to close the gap and hit level 13 themselves. Already Breeze is in position where he tries to power slide in. He has Mosh Pit up. Here comes the Silence. He moves in. Divine Palm has been triggered. Blumby jumps away. So far the escape for Spartanien is good. And the Phoenix to cover their retreat and zone them out. Job well done. That was a very, very nice effort to save especially, of course, Muradin. And they were successful in that. So for now, they have been doing a very great job to keep the heroes alive and also make sure that they get the web weavers. That buys them some time, that at least relieves some of the pressure that they have on the map. And we're seeing now also down to the bot lane, Darkmok moving in again, trying to get a few more stacks for his Seasoned Marksman. But the problem is that Fnatic identified that early on and is trying to get him now. He's dodging the stuns, uses the Hyperion scary hit, but there's of course absolutely no way of keeping him alive. Hyperion here doesn't really do too much either way. I mean, Shed is taking a few hits, but that's about it already. It's a 2-level lead still for Fnatic, and the only thing that Spartanien can hope for at this point is to really get level 13, fight on even talents, and then just wipe Fnatic out and make a good play there. It's not going to be easy, I'm not going to lie to you. We have Blumby, Crosby, everybody's still in position. The one thing that really is great for them still is that they have 82 gems. That allows them to get a turn in. But Fnatic has enough gems to get a turn in on their own now too, so it's going to be a bit tricky. If Fnatic successfully hands in all the gems that they have and gets the Web Weaver wave, they are very likely to push in for one of the keeps, or at least destroy a few towers, and that could definitely happen. We have Quacknix already at the bot lane, going straight for the Siege Giants. You don't see that too much, that Sylvanas is going to do that on her own if she didn't go on level 1 into Barbed Shot, because it just takes quite a long time. In this case, it was worth it for them. There were no real waves that they missed out on because of it. 15 versus level 12, but that 13 talent is now going to hit any second, and that is the time where Spartanien can fight. They finally have the chain bombs. They needed that talent, and now they have it. Chain bombs are there. Already Iron Skin has been used, but Johanna moves away. Crosby misses the gravity lapse. We have Giant Killer now for Reyna, and that is finally the damage that he was looking for against those tanks, against ETC, against Johanna, and he's going to try and use that. Muradin, without the level 13 talent just yet, has a few options of what he could go for right now. Misses the Storm Ball, unfortunately. The Wailing Arrow hits and hits hard. Mosh Pit again, but this time there's the Gravity Lapse, but Muradin is already down, and so is Tyrael. Divine Palm saves Reyna for another second, but he won't be able to escape here. Jaina with an ice block, saving herself. Great play for Fnatic. They have 16 versus 13 now, and they have 8 kills against 2. With the 16 talent, they're starting to move in. Muradin hasn't even used his level 13 talent. He could have gone into something like a Spell Shield here if he feels that there's too much burst damage on the opponent's side. So there were a few options for him. It might have helped to keep him alive a bit longer so that he can use his heroic ability. He never got the chance to use Avatar. But now we have the bot lane demolished. They keep attacked and taken down. And still 75 gems in the hands of Fnatic that they can use to get a turn in on their way back. Double imposing presence, not only on ETC but also on Johanna, to make sure that Reyna is going to have a very tough time melting those tanks down. We're seeing the Numbing Blast taken again. Northern Exposure, of course, my bad. And we have Cold Embrace for the additional burst, with Tyrande still waiting for her level 16 talent. Not taking it just yet. So Tyrande waiting out on the ability. Spell Shield, by the way, has now indeed been taken on Muradin. Unfortunately, a bit too late for Blumby to stay alive in the last fight. That might have been one of those things that could have brought them back into the battle, since he still had his heroic ability up. But now we have on 16 also the Shooting Star taken. We've been talking about Lunar Blaze on level 7 in one of the last games already. So great synergy between the 7 and 16 talent. And that's another huge lead now for Fnatic. They are 3 levels ahead right now. And also the extra talent, which is exactly what they, of course, are looking for here. Bot lane is being pushed by the Web Weaver. Up at the top, we have also one pushing in. That's the one thing that Fnatic at least could do. They got the turn in. And that is important, but here comes again the attack against Blumby. He has his Avatar already in play. No level 16 talent for him just yet. Can't use his Stone Form to keep himself alive. And Fnatic is on the hunt. But Hyperion was well placed, pushed them back. Web Weaver at the top has been eliminated. The one at the bot lane, on the other hand, is still active and could theoretically take down the fort. Doesn't really look like they're going to be able to get that kill there, but still, yeah, when it comes to gems now, 95 for Fnatic. And I really feel they should finally start to get those turn-ins. I mean, they have the level 16 talent. They should have probably done it even a bit earlier than that. But if they go and move in now, get the turn-in, push with level 16, it should give them... Well, it should theoretically result in them taking down the second keep. But even if they don't get the kill on the keep, they can at least take a few of these towers down. And now we have them going for the fight. Quacknix, on the other hand, he might run into the trap, and he does. Get sniped, and Sylvanas eliminated at this point in time is amazing for Spartanien. It gives them more safety, it gives them a lot of experience, and now Sylvanas can't use her arrow traits to just move in and take down another structure. So that was a very, very important snipe here for Spartanien. This was actually the one thing that really saves their ass right now. They still have to defend against the Web Weavers, don't get me wrong, it's not going to be easy. And I mean, we have that talent lead, but for how much longer, since now Spartanien is just trying to go from lane to lane to get these waves, get the experience, hit level 16. and they're already defending the bot lane here. They don't even have to snipe all of this, since the core is going to do a fair amount of the defense play itself. But up to the top now, they can collect the experience for level 16, and they will be in a position where they can fight back. And this would have been so much worse with Sylvanas not dying. So great play here for Spartanien. Maybe the start of a comeback. They're still 2.5 level behind, but they have the Arcane Barrier now for Khaldor. They also have the Stone Form for Mirrodin, which will make it much easier to keep him alive. And we are seeing the Circle of Life now taken for Karazim, who decided to not go into the Soothing Breeze here. That's something that he could have done, considering how many silencers, slow and stuns we have, but it's the extra healing instead. Apparently they were checking if the boss is being taken, but that's not something that Fnatic is willing to do at this point. We also have now the Bullseye, and I'm not quite sure if that's really the smartest move to move in there. It sounds like it's a very bit of an obvious play, but so far Fnatic doesn't really know what's going on. But they turned in again, and now they definitely know what's happening here. Already the Owl on the way up to the top, and that's not the only thing. We all know how the bosses went in the last game. Fnatic was able to win. Oh my god, that Okay, so much for that. Triple kill, quad kill, the boss is going to... They actually get the boss! They get the boss thanks to Tyrael and his Hold Your Ground, but I don't really think that it matters too much. They lost the entire team. I mean, Fnatic, yeah, they get the boss, and after the first map, that's probably a tiny victory for them. They lost on Cursed Hollow 3 bosses that they were able to take down to their opponents, thanks to Mighty Gust, to Breeze with this face melt. But this team wipe that we just saw there, the Throw Pit once again, true to its name. This is the victory for Fnatic in the series. After being down one game, they take it with a 2-1. Congratulations to Fnatic. Well played and a well-deserved victory at the OGA series against Spartanien.
Well, after this series we know one thing for sure, bosses are not really the friend of Spartanien. Cursed Hollow was, of course, I mean, that was the big thing, right? We had 3 bosses claimed by Fnatic that were originally defeated by Spartanien. Every single time Spartanien moved in, Fnatic was saying like, hey boys, guess what, we're gonna get another free boss. I think at that point they were probably a bit pissed, and I can completely understand it. That Mighty Gust and also Breeze with the face melt, pushing everybody away, just did absolutely wonders. On the last map then also, that boss attack just turning around completely against Spartanien. They lose the game right there. They were just attempting to claw their way back into the match, and then that happens. They get wiped at the boss. They get it this time, but that doesn't help them anymore since they already lost the keep, and Fnatic just moves in and takes it. So yeah, pretty intense series here. I hope that you liked it, and I hope that you enjoyed the commentary. If you did, you know the drill. Give the video a thumbs up on YouTube, and if you have any questions, you can always post them in the comment section on YouTube here. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet and you want to see more Heroes of the Storm in the future, then you should hit that subscribe button. And guys, that's it for the day. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm going to see you next time with more Heroes of the Storm here on YouTube. Have a good one. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.